Hello everyone, I am Surdiana from Group 6. Now I am going to talk about adverb clause. Before explaining the material, I will introduce my friend. The first is Muhammad Fatan, and second is Yulia Triastuti, and the last is Muhammad Alam Firdaus. Okay, now I will explain what is an adverb clause. Adverb clause is a collection of words that function as an adverb in a sentence. Usually, an adverb is in a sentence only consists of 2 or 3 words and is not a sentence. But by using an adverb clause, we can use a long sentence to be an adverb. Adverb clause function to modify verbs by indicating context such as time, place, condition, cause, and purpose. The difference between adverb clause and noun clause is that adverb clause does not have to ever right after the verb is described. Adverb clause can ever is to form after the main clause or before the one above. There are 2 clauses. I will say the check and you leave. In the main clause, I is the subject of the verb. Will say. Man will in the adverb clause. You is the subject of the verb. Leave the clause. You leave is an adverb clause since it is introduced with the connector before. In the addition, the clause you leave describe the verb will say in the example of above. The adverb clause is in form 1, where the adjective clause comes after the main clause. In this case, comma is not used. Thank you.
In the example 2 above, there are also the same 2 clauses. I will sign the check and you leave. The difference with the example 1. In the sentence, the adverb clause comes before the main clause. In this case, comma is used after the adverb clause before the main clause. As stated above, adverb clause mainly function to describe a verb of the main clause in a sentence. Adverb clause describe a verb by indicating the concept such as time, place, condition, cause, and purpose. These different concepts are indicated by different connectors. So in the table 6 below, the next section discuss each concept that can be described by adverb clause. The function of the adverb clause. This one menerangkan verb atau kata kerja. For example, Andy work hard. Kata hard menerangkan kata run artinya Andy bekerja keras. Gitu. Next example, I drive motorcycle carefully. Kata carefully di sini menerangkan kata drive yang artinya saya mengendarai sepeda motor dengan baik hati. Yang kedua menerangkan adjektif atau kata sifat. For example, the weather is very cold. Kata very di sini menerangkan kata cold yang artinya cuacanya sangat dingin. Next, Kuta Beach is the most beautiful beach in Indonesia. Kata the most menerangkan kata beautiful yang artinya pantai Kuta adalah pantai yang paling indah di Indonesia. Yang ketiga yaitu menerangkan adverbs atau kata keterangan lainnya. Di sini contohnya, the day felt long because we had nothing to do. Frase we had nothing to do menerangkan kata long yang artinya hari terasa panjang karena kami tidak melakukan apa-apa. Next example, you need to remain calm even if everyone else panic. Frase if everyone else panics menerangkan kata calm yang artinya Anda harus tetap tenang meskipun semua orang panik.
Types of adverb clause and verbal clause of time. Testify or adverb clause and serves and to explain time. Conjunction. Types are often used to high after. Contoh dari kalimat adverbial clause of time. Pertama, after finish talking with him, I will meet you Setelah saya bicara kepada saya akan bertemu denganmu. Yang kedua, adverbal clause of lies. This type of art called serves to further information about a place and nowhere, everywhere, wherever is the most frequent whose condition for this for the action. Example of sentence on seeing unverbal cause of lies. Wherever you go, little Jimmy always follow Emerald. Kemanapun saya pergi, Jimmy kecil selalu mengikuti saya. Yang ketiga, number 2. Unverbal cause and effect. To example of cause and effect is a type of different cause of cause and effects conjunction that are often used from this type of part include because sense in our thought. Example of sentences using adverbal clause of cause and effects. Linda on the in order that she can fit in her gown for her brother wedding party. Linda sedang menjalani diet supaya dia bisa memakai gaun di acara pernikahan abangnya. Number 4, call adverbial clause of purpose and result. Adverbial clause of purpose and used when we want to add adverb information that tell of purpose, so that the less in the half that's condition that is widely known as adverb clause. Example of sentences using adverbial clause of purpose and result. Example of sentence using adverbial clause of verbal result. I am asking you to join us to meet so that you and speak out your opinion. Saya mengajakmu untuk bergabung dengan kami dalam rapat supaya kamu bisa mengutarakan pendapatmu.
5. Adverb clause of conjunction. When we want to add an adverb in the form of a conjunction event that has Catherine conjunction, we use the adverb clause of conjunction of this type of about include if, as, only if, what harvest, and unless. Example of sentences on the adverb clause of conjunction. I will buy the groceries for you if are busy. 6. Adverb clause of manner. This type of adverb clause is answered to add an adverb in a sentences that show how the conjunctions that are widely used are as, as if, how, like, as to. Example of sentences on the adverb clause of manner. I have a superior message to Raina as what you told me yesterday. Adverb clause formula and example. The exact formula for add adverb clause is to make it a clause with a connecting adverb. Meanwhile, the adverb clause itself consists of two kinds of sentences, namely a complex sentences and adverb clause. 1. Complex sentences. Independent clause I plus B plus adverb clause. Yang 2. Adverb clause subordinate conjunction plus I plus B plus blah blah blah.